we're once again back at Rip Park. Gonna try and play a full 2 loops this time, and I think we're mostly gonna focus on good decision making in this round. We're gonna talk about what's going through my head as I'm picking each disc and how I'm approaching each and every hole. Let's get right into it. Hole 1, you've seen it before, 210 feet, basically straight ahead, right behind this pine tree, right in the center here. I'm gonna be throwing the Simon Line Balance Prototype, a pretty beefy mid, and just on hyzer, hoping to get around that tree and fight in, hopefully get right underneath the basket. Oh, caught up in the first tree. Don't roll all the way to the road. Nope, just short. Or maybe 60 feet out. This time, just going, we're gonna run it. There's not much that can go wrong with a run here, so. Just needed to keep it up. Got a bit of a tricky lie just because this tree here, but basically a tap in range. Nailed it. Hole 2, 295 feet, through the first 2 trees, around to the basket. This one, the only real play is a forehand in between these trees. I'm gonna throw a blackout, kind of a flippy fairway driver on hyzer. Hopefully it flips up, rides, and fights back towards the basket. Oh, a little flippy. And not near enough power. I've really just got to get in the field and work on that forehand. We are, I don't know, maybe 100 feet from the basket, which for a lot of people is a pretty awkward range, right? You don't quite feel comfortable trying to step putt it, jump putt it, whatever you do. You can't quite just rip your putt and approach disc. You got to be a little bit touchy with these. I'm going with the Area 51 with a bit of touch, trying to put it mostly flat because this is overstable, flat and to the right of the basket. And I still juiced it, I think. Oh no, I tickled the chains. Well, we got a 15-footer, maybe, coming back. I was pretty much spot on with distance here. I guess we're taking a bogey. Hole 3, UDisc has this one right at 300 feet. Yellow basket, basically straight ahead, but the fairway kind of juts off to the right and then swerves left. I'm gonna be throwing the cookie. The idea is that you can put it out here relatively flat, get it past all this tall grass and let it fight back. Came out on a bit of hyzer, so we're gonna miss left and short, but we're clear of all that grass, so should be pretty easy to get in for par. All right, another kind of awkward lie. Let's see. What's our best option here to try and still give this a run? I've got clearance for the disc here, kind of up on my back toes, so I can still get my legs involved. I think this is gonna have to be it. Try and give it a run. Just short. Needed a little bit more power behind that. Par 3, 260 feet, right on top of the hill. We're gonna go with a mid-range on this one. I feel like every time I'm on this hole, I try and throw a driver for it, even though I know I can get there with a mid-range. And I think that's just mentally, it's uphill, it looks further away than the 260 feet that the T sign says. If it truly is 260, I should be able to get there with this scope and just put it a lot closer. Fade for me just a little. Oh yeah. And now we're putting for birdie. A lot of times I find myself especially when I'm playing a course I'm not as super familiar with, wanting to drive with one of my drivers, either fairway or distance driver, on a super short hole. And I don't know why. It just, I don't know, I feel confident in it when I pick up the disc, but really it's hurting my accuracy. And what you should do is build the trust in your mid-range arsenal. There's no reason for me to try and throw a driver on anything shorter than 300 feet, but yet I do it constantly. Hole 5, 360 feet. This one is a driver hole for me. Going with the Dystopia. Gonna try and put it out there on hyzer because this thing likes to flip over on me. And hopefully it'll flip up, ride, and crash straight towards the basket. Maybe even give us a look. Oh, I still completely flipped it. That came out on so much hyzer. I mean, it was way nose up, but I late released. It did come out on hyzer and it flipped and still tried to turn. That thing is just so flippy. Well, I got the distance out of it I needed. UDisc says this is a 330-foot throw, but I'm 60 feet away from the basket. Fight back. I'm putting with the Rots again, by the way. After that last video out here, I decided that familiarity is going to trump all when it comes to my putters, and I should just stick with what I know for now. Gotta build that confidence. Some real nasty rough along the right, one tree to contend with right here. This is the distance where I do want to start getting into my control or fairway drivers. In this case, I'm going with the Chemtrail. Hopefully get a nice little hyzer flip up straight right at the basket. Beautiful. Now I'll come back a little bit. I don't hate that at all. Could I be closer? Yeah, but it's way better than being off to the right or hitting this tree. I think a lot of us could be better served by really stopping to think when we should be throwing our drivers. That was just uncommitted as heck. See, if I commit, I actually give it a chance. Just have to commit fully to the putt. You know what? I can't be that mad about top of band hits, because that means I was at least committed to it. Whereas if I hit the basket and bounce out, that just means I didn't give it enough. I didn't trust myself. 330 feet up. Going with the Dystopia again. Gotta not late release it, and gotta make sure we put it on plenty of hyzer. That's what I want out of that. I still ended up so short though. Throwing uphill is so tough. Left ourselves 80 feet maybe? Let's just see what UDisc says. I should be better about doing this if I'm gonna be doing YouTube videos like this. We are UDisc. I don't think that T-pad's in, that basket's in the right spot. This feels like a lot further than 50. That should putt. I know exactly what I did. I've got my microphone right where I normally want to bring my disc to, and I wanted to avoid hitting it, so I went higher and messed myself up. Or I just can't putt. One of the two. Yeah, I'll go with the second one. We are once again gonna have to walk right past hole 8 because they still got it out, even though all the snow melted. That's fine. This will be a 16-hole round. as we play through each one twice. I can show you where the basket normally is though. Hole 8's basket belongs right up here on this little ridge. Honestly, it makes for some great putting. And by great, I mean definitely interesting. There's the hole. As you can see, it's not here. So we'll move straight on to 9. Hole 9 is 325 feet, basically dead straight. We're gonna throw the black on a bit of a hyzer flip. Or way too much hyzer. As much as I would have loved to get across the road here, we got to approach from basically inside this tree. I think actually give myself the disc's worth so I'm slightly less poked. And maybe this is actually a decent forehand approach. Or not. Not if you don't throw it in the air, both of them. Probably should have just stuck with backhand. Take that as a lesson in second guessing yourself. There's no reason I couldn't have thrown the backhand there. I had enough room. The tree wouldn't have messed me up that bad. Instead, I went with a shot I'm super uncomfortable with and left it 50 feet short. Okay, I need to change this microphone placement. I am way too aware of it, where it's at now. Am I one of the cool kids now? I'm still feeling like it's there. Forget about the microphone, it's up here. Right back to where we started, a 210-foot par 3. This time I'm gonna throw the ultra on this hole and hopefully keep it a little bit straighter and not swing it out so wide. Get through. That is a much better shot. Aim, fire the wrist, putting is easy. Hit a birdie, let's go. Back on hole 2. This is really truly a forehand hole. I just do not have the forehand to get there. So what we're gonna try this time is the cookie on anhyzer. Hopefully enough anhyzer that it goes towards the basket and then fights out at the last second. I put that on basically no anhyzer. And now we're a million miles away. Let me give another rip. Same idea, but with a chemtrail. Too much. Spit back out for me, thankfully. This cookie went pretty remarkably straight, actually. Once again, area 51. Touchy, hyzer, sit. I think we can putt that. Everything looks so much further when you're far away. This is maybe 10 feet. We're getting a POV shot. Nailed it. 300 feet. Basically dead straight. You know the drill. We're throwing the cookie. Hyzer, hyzer, hyzer. Skip. Oh, that's pretty good. Might be another birdie. All that's left to do is not overthink this 15-footer. Aim, fire the wrist, putting is easy. And we left it right. Pretty much the exact same distance. Really? An inch low. Well, nice birdogey. I think on this one, we're just gonna go exact same strategy. The scope, put it flat right at it. Came out on a little hyzer that time. Left it quite a bit longer too. Got maybe a 30 footer just on the edge of C1. I am sailing all my putts today. Why is everything going up so much? You are kidding me. I'm either up over the band or hitting the basket. Back to hole 5, 360 feet. I'm gonna throw the cookie. I really got into that. And we're still so short. I think I just need a distance driver on this hole. But I don't necessarily have one I trust that much right now. We're gonna go with a plague. See if we can't get any closer. So nose up. And not really any closer. That distance driver got absolutely no closer. It's 10 feet to my right over here. I'm gonna throw the depth charge on a bit of a Annie flex line or right into the trees. Take a bogey at best. Let's try and give this a step putt run. So high. I feel a lot better about that one. All right, let's keep this to a single bogey. Or not. Hole 6, and it's time for a mindset shift. Happy with par. Throwing the black out. Easily parable from there. Safe approach, and then get in the basket. All right, nothing stupid here. Take the putter, put it underneath the basket. I juiced it. What am I doing? That's all I needed. With where my confidence is on the putting green right now, I do not need to be leaving myself 12 footers for no reason. All right, we made it. Another par. 330 feet. We've kind of established that I'm not going to make this distance. So instead of going for one of my distance drivers, I grabbed the Chemtrail, like a 6-speed fairway. We're just going to try and put it on hyzer, get it up there, approach, putt, make par. You know what? Happy with that. We got about halfway there. Get the other half with an approach disc, and then put it in. Once again, we've got like 80 to 100 feet, but this time we planned for it. I'm just gonna grab the Area 51 and just try and put it near the basket. We're not going for any kind of crazy run. Still left it a little further than I want, but that should be fine. Here's a tip you might have heard before. Stand 10 feet or so behind where your disc is and line up and imagine your putt from there. Then, when you actually do walk up to your putt, it feels 100 times closer. Doesn't mean you'll always make it. Of course I can make the putt around the tripod. 325 feet across the road. Get across. Not even close. Got to this edge of the road. Should be a fairly easy approach. Sit. We'll take that. Well, that puts us at +7 on 16 holes. That is not so great. What's UDisc round rating gonna put us at? Yeah, 145. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a little frustrated, especially in that back 9. So things did not quite get to the level of instruction as I wanted it to be. But hopefully you still enjoyed the video if you made it this far. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.